Have you ever experienced being ensnared in a conversational predicament, not of your own volition, but coerced into it nonetheless? This is the subtle craft of manipulation, an age-old stratagem as pertinent in today's world as it was during the era of the ancient Stoics. Consider this: even Marcus Aurelius, one of history's most influential figures within the Roman Empire, cautioned against the manipulative tactics employed by those who exploit our virtues. In the contemporary landscape, saturated with social media, instantaneous communication, and ceaseless opportunities for comparison, manipulation often feels like an imperceptible force, steering us in directions we never intended to traverse. However, what if I proposed that discerning the indicators of manipulation and grounding ourselves in the tenets of Stoicism could furnish not merely a shield, but a method to navigate these tumultuous waters with poise and personal integrity? Envision yourself entrenched in a relationship or circumstance wherein you perpetually find yourself under scrutiny, incessantly tasked with validating your worth, love, and fidelity time and again. It's akin to being perpetually on trial, with your intrinsic value perennially in question, irrespective of the extent of your contributions. Now let's pause for reflection and view this scenario through the prism of Stoicism. The Stoics, those venerable philosophers committed to inner equanimity and fortitude, espoused a resolute stance on this matter. They maintained that our worth is intrinsic, impervious to external adjudication or evaluation. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic luminary and sovereign, articulated the paramountcy of authenticity, irrespective of external exigencies. He advocated for maintaining inner tranquility in the face of external opinions, asserting that our self-worth should remain unshaken by external judgments. So, when we encounter these interminable trials of worth, what we truly confront is a manipulative stratagem, one aimed at sowing seeds of doubt regarding our inherent value. This is particularly pernicious as it often compels us to overextend ourselves, expending our energy and affection into a void, hoping futilely that our efforts will finally suffice. Yet, here's the Stoic revelation. It's not about proving our value to others. It's about recognizing our intrinsic worth and steadfastly upholding it. It entails delineating boundaries and comprehending that no one possesses the prerogative to diminish our worth. But why do manipulators resort to such tactics? Why this incessant evaluation? Simply put, it perpetually keeps us off balance, ceaselessly chasing their validation and thereby relinquishing our power. Nonetheless, recall the words of Epictetus, another stalwart of Stoicism. We wield authority over our own perceptions and actions. None can denigrate us without our acquiescence. The Stoic prescription for emancipating oneself from this cycle is both simple and profound. Know thyself, honor thyself, and refuse to allow the capricious whims of external approval to define your value. It's about transitioning from reliance on external validation to fostering internal serenity, recognizing that you are inherently worthy just as you are. And when someone endeavors to subject you to a test of worth, remember, you needn't participate. You've already succeeded simply by embracing your authentic self. It's akin to traversing through dense fog, where the path forward remains obscured, and deciphering the genuine intentions behind uttered words proves challenging. This murky form of communication frequently assumes the guise of passive aggression, those instances when verbal articulations belie incongruous actions or tones. It's akin to attempting to decipher a book missing half its pages. You grasp the essence, but the complete narrative eludes you, leaving lacunae to be filled with doubt and insecurity. The ancient Stoics wielded a potent antidote to such manipulation, clarity and forthrightness. They esteemed direct communication, holding that unvarnished truth, no matter how stark, eclipsed the palliative allure of falsehoods. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, underscored the significance of candor, advocating for the alignment of speech with intent, a principle that illuminates the obscurities of communication like a beacon. But why do manipulators thrive in such obscurity? Ambiguity serves as their ally, enabling them to sidestep accountability with evasive rejoinders like, "I was merely jesting," or "You're overanalyzing." The power dynamics shift in their favor, as indeed, if you're constantly deciphering their genuine intentions, you're less inclined to confront them or advocate for your own requirements. Stoicism imparts the wisdom to probe beneath the surface, discerning the motives underlying words. It underscores that while we lack dominion over others' chosen modes of communication, we retain agency over our reactions. We can pursue elucidation, pose direct inquiries, and eschew the guessing game. When confronted with those who persist in communicating opaquely, we possess the autonomy to opt out, retreating into the luminosity of forthright, sincere discourse. Let's aspire to the Stoic archetype of transparency in our exchanges, unafraid to solicit clarification and candidly express our needs and expectations. For in doing so, we not only dispel the shadows shrouding communication, but also beckon others into the light alongside us. Recall, a dialogue needn't resemble a labyrinth. It should instead emulate a well-marked, honest path fostering comprehension and camaraderie. Consider finding yourself within a labyrinth, each turn seemingly correct, yet somehow leaving you questioning if you're merely retracing your steps. Gaslighting mirrors this experience, but within the sphere of personal interactions. It's a manipulative ploy that undermines the bedrock of your reality, casting doubt upon your recollections and even your sanity. Gaslighters employ denial or skillful manipulation of truth, inducing uncertainty regarding your perceptions. Stoicism, with its emphasis on the potency of our minds and perceptions, offers a beacon guiding us through this labyrinth. It extols the importance of trusting one's judgment and the testimony of one's senses. Epictetus, a Stoic sage, implored us to delineate between what lies within our sphere of influence and what does not. Our perceptions, convictions, and assessments fall within our purview. Thus, when confronted with gaslighting, the Stoic practice of anchoring oneself in the veracity of one's reality emerges as a vital bulwark. But what makes gaslighting so potent as a mode of manipulation? It preys on our intrinsic need for stability and veracity in our comprehension of the world. By undermining the bedrock of our reality, the gaslighter seizes control. It's a surreptitious form of manipulation, as it renders you reliant on the gaslighter for validation of your reality. Suddenly, the labyrinth doesn't merely confine you, it morphs into your entire universe, with the gaslighter wielding the chart. Here's where Stoicism lends a guiding hand, aiding us in reclaiming our navigational tool. It instructs us to lean on our internal compass, to have faith in our capacity to perceive and interpret reality accurately. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, extolled the resilience stemming from within, a fortitude impervious to external forces. He urged us to cling steadfastly to our truths, recognizing that our discernment and judgment, when tempered with reason and introspection, serve as potent guides out of the labyrinth of gaslighting. Liberating ourselves from gaslighting commences with this Stoic revelation. While we cannot dictate the actions or words of others, we retain dominion over our response to them. We can opt out of the game, seek solace, document our encounters, and repose trust in the testimony of our senses. Above all, we can internalize the notion that our reality, our truths, necessitate no validation from those seeking to manipulate them. So if ever ensnared within the labyrinth of gaslighting, recall the tenets of Stoic wisdom. Ground yourself in your perceptions, rely on your internal compass, and recognize that your reality eludes external definition. By steadfastly adhering to your truth, you chart a course out of the maze, returning to the luminosity of lucidity and self-assurance. Envision this scenario. You're sharing a jovial moment with a companion when suddenly a remark is flung your way, piercing your joviality. It stings, catching you off guard, followed swiftly by the classic, "I'm just jesting." Suddenly you find yourself stranded in this peculiar limbo, torn between feeling wounded and questioning if you're perhaps overly sensitive. Here's the crux. Humor, a delightful aspect of human connection, loses its charm when employed as a facade for disrespect or to demean someone. It forfeits its levity and metamorphoses into a tool of manipulation, a means to probe boundaries under the guise of jest. The Stoics, with their emphasis on reverence and honor for oneself and others, would likely perceive this stratagem for what it truly is, a divergence from the path of virtue. Seneca, a Stoic sage, expounded upon the significance of harmony in relationships and the fortitude of character. He'd probably posit that authentic strength resides not in diminishing others, but in uplifting them. Hence, when someone cloaks disrespect in humor, it transcends beyond a mere personal affront. It mirrors their own insecurities or their incapacity to engage in genuine, respectful discourse. But why do certain individuals resort to such tactics? It's a means to assert dominance while retaining plausible deniability, a subtle assertion that proclaims, "I can slight you, but you're barred from reproaching me because it's all in good spirits, right?" Incorrect. This isn't merely about hypersensitivity. It's about discerning and resisting subtle forms of manipulation and disrespect. Stoicism enjoins us to uphold our inner serenity and honor irrespective of external provocations. Marcus Aurelius, perchance, would advocate responding to such circumstances with equanimity and contemplating the motives behind such jests. The objective isn't retaliation, but recognizing our authority to determine how others impact us. Furthermore, Stoicism underscores the significance of candid, explicit communication. If a jest wounds, it's permissible to vocalize it. It's permissible to demarcate boundaries, delineating what is tolerable and what is not, while navigating the nebulous realms of humor as a means of manipulation. Remember the Stoic tenets of reverence, dignity, and self-awareness. Apprehend the essence of integrity. That your sentiments are valid, and that you merit to be treated with gentleness and esteem, even in banter. And perhaps most crucially, remember that authentic mirth fosters delight and rapport, not unease or anguish. So the subsequent time you're on the receiving end of a merely jesting jab stand, resolute in your truth. Let's aspire for a world where merriment acts as a conduit, not an obstacle. Envision this scenario. Any strife or discord arises, and instead of a joint endeavor to address it, one party promptly assumes the role of the victim, the aggrieved, the blameless one. This isn't solely about seeking empathy. It's a calculated maneuver to shift culpability, elude accountability, and manipulate the narrative. From a Stoic viewpoint, this conduct fundamentally contradicts the philosophy's emphasis on personal accountability, sincerity, and the pursuit of excellence. The Stoics, akin to Epictetus, contend that external occurrences lie beyond our jurisdiction, but how we construe and react to them is entirely within our dominion. Brandishing the victim card disavows this authority, striving instead to govern the external by distorting perceptions. But why is this tactic so potent? Because it preys on our empathy and our innate urge to aid those undergoing distress. When someone plays the victim, it sparks a reaction in us to assuage their distress, often to the detriment of our own necessities and occasionally even our comprehension of reality. It's a potent manifestation of emotional coercion that ensnares us in an untenable predicament. Challenge the victim narrative and risk appearing callous, or accede to it and permit the manipulation to persist. Stoicism furnishes an escape from this quandary by urging us to pursue lucidity and veracity above emotional response. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, exhorted us to delve beneath the surface, comprehend the essence of matters, and act with fairness and rectitude when confronted with someone wielding the victim card. We're reminded to pause, contemplate, and not promptly capitulate to emotional manipulation. It's about striking a balance between empathy and discernment. Picture a scenario where someone showers you with kindness, favors, and gifts. Initially, these gestures feel genuine, warm, and perhaps even uplifting. However, as time unfolds, you begin to discern a pattern, a subtle undercurrent beneath the surface. These acts of apparent kindness come with invisible strings attached. They carry with them unspoken expectations, obligations, and sometimes an unanticipated price. What once seemed like genuine benevolence now reveals itself as a manipulative ploy, cleverly disguised in the guise of generosity. The Stoics, renowned for their profound insights into human behavior, discerned the subtle nuances between authentic and contrived kindness. Seneca, a notable Stoic philosopher, extolled the virtue of true generosity, a generosity that extends freely, without the expectation of reciprocation. For Seneca and his Stoic peers, genuine acts of kindness were not transactions. They were selfless expressions of goodwill, devoid of ulterior motives. But why do some individuals resort to such manipulative tactics? The answer lies in their understanding of human psychology. By showering others with kindness and favors, These manipulators create a sense of indebtedness, a psychological debt that compels the recipient to reciprocate. It's a cunning strategy, leveraging the innate human desire to reciprocate kindness and avoid appearing ungrateful. This manipulation tactic transforms relationships into transactions, where every act of kindness becomes a tally mark, waiting to be repaid with interest. It distorts the essence of genuine human connection, turning it into a calculated exchange rather than a spontaneous expression of empathy and care. In the realm of Stoicism, however, lies a beacon of wisdom, a guiding light that illuminates a path forward. Stoicism teaches us the value of independence and self-sufficiency, not just in material terms, but also emotionally and ethically. It reminds us that true kindness is selfless and unconditional, devoid of any hidden agendas or expectations. So, the next time you find yourself on the receiving end of such calculated kindness, remember the Stoic principles that guide us. Seek clarity in discerning genuine acts of benevolence from manipulative tactics. Embrace autonomy and self-sufficiency, standing firm in your integrity and refusing to be ensnared by the chains of obligation. In doing so, you uphold the true essence of kindness and forge genuine, meaningful connections based on mutual respect and empathy. Marcus Aurelius, the renowned Stoic philosopher and Roman emperor, left behind a legacy of wisdom that continues to resonate through the ages. His reflections on the essence of Stoic philosophy emphasize the importance of acting virtuously, regardless of external circumstances or motivations. For Marcus Aurelius, true virtue lay in doing what is right for its own sake, without expectation of reward or recognition. When we apply this Stoic principle to the concept of kindness, it becomes evident that genuine kindness is unconditional. It is not contingent upon receiving something in return or meeting certain conditions. However, in our interactions with others, we may encounter individuals who offer kindness with strings attached. These individuals may use acts of kindness as a means of manipulation, seeking to control or influence others for their own benefit. In such situations, it is essential to recognize these acts of kindness for what they truly are: tactics of manipulation. By grounding ourselves in Stoic philosophy, we can maintain clarity of thought and discernment in our interactions. We can appreciate the gestures of kindness while remaining vigilant against hidden agendas and ulterior motives. The Stoic virtues of wisdom and courage are invaluable guides in navigating these complex interpersonal dynamics. Wisdom enables us to see beyond the surface and discern the true intentions behind seemingly benevolent actions. It empowers us to recognize when kindness is being used as a tool for manipulation and control. Courage, on the other hand, emboldens us to uphold our integrity and autonomy in the face of manipulation. It gives us the strength to assert our boundaries firmly but kindly, ensuring that our actions and choices remain true to our values and principles. In essence, Stoicism teaches us to cultivate an inner resilience that transcends external influences and manipulative tactics. By anchoring ourselves in virtue and maintaining our integrity, we can navigate through life's complexities with clarity, grace, and inner strength. Marcus Aurelius's timeless wisdom reminds us that true kindness emanates from a place of authenticity and sincerity, free from expectations or hidden agendas. It is a beacon of light that illuminates our path and fosters genuine connections with others. Now let us delve deeper into another facet of human interaction: the dynamics of minimizing feelings and emotional invalidation. Imagine confiding in someone about a personal struggle or emotional pain, only to have your feelings dismissed or minimized. This experience can be deeply disheartening and invalidating, leaving you feeling unheard and invalidated. From a Stoic perspective, such acts of emotional invalidation represent a departure from the path of empathy and understanding. The Stoics recognize the importance of acknowledging and honoring our emotions, viewing them as essential components of the human experience. Epictetus, a prominent Stoic philosopher, emphasized the significance of accepting our emotions and responding to them with wisdom and equanimity. When someone minimizes your feelings, they are not just disregarding your emotional experience. They are attempting to exert control over your perception of reality. This form of manipulation undermines your autonomy and diminishes the validity of your emotions, eroding your sense of self-worth and dignity. In navigating these challenges, Stoicism offers us invaluable insights into cultivating emotional resilience and maintaining our inner peace. It teaches us to trust in our perceptions and judgments, even in the face of invalidation or gaslighting. By anchoring ourselves in Stoic principles, we can assert our boundaries firmly and respond to emotional manipulation with clarity and composure. Ultimately, Stoicism encourages us to cultivate a deep sense of self-awareness and emotional resilience, enabling us to navigate through life's trials and tribulations with grace and fortitude. As we continue to explore the profound teachings of Stoic philosophy, let us strive to embody its timeless wisdom in our daily lives, fostering genuine connections and embracing the full spectrum of human experience with courage and compassion. But why do individuals engage in this behavior? Often it's a manifestation of their discomfort with vulnerability or a misguided attempt to maintain a facade of strength. By diminishing your feelings, they deflect attention from their own insecurities or inadequacies. It's a defense mechanism, albeit one that causes collateral damage to the trust and intimacy that could otherwise flourish. Stoicism offers a countermeasure to this tactic through the cultivation of self-awareness and the affirmation of our right to feel. Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic emperor, frequently reflected on the importance of acknowledging our emotions without being overwhelmed by them. He would advise us to recognize the validity of our feelings, regardless of external validation. This isn't about wallowing in self-pity or demanding universal acknowledgement for our troubles, but about affirming to ourselves that our feelings are real, valid, and deserve space. So how should we respond when our feelings are minimized? With Stoic resolve, we can choose to validate our own experiences internally, even when others refuse to. We can strive for dialogue, explaining how such dismissal affects us, but we must also prepare to accept that some may never fully understand or acknowledge our feelings. That's their path, not ours. In navigating interactions where our feelings are minimized, let's remember the Stoic principles of self-validation and emotional resilience. We are the ultimate arbiters of our feelings, the ones who give them space and acknowledgement. By doing so, we honor our truth and maintain our inner peace, regardless of external affirmations or dismissals. This Stoic practice doesn't just shield us from the impact of being minimized. It transforms our relationship with our emotions, turning them into sources of strength and self-knowledge. Now consider the scenario where someone maintains a facade of unflappable serenity, not as a genuine reflection of inner peace, but as a means to make you feel overly emotional, irrational, or even childish by comparison. It's a subtle form of gaslighting, making you question the validity of your emotions and the reasonableness of your reactions. From a Stoic viewpoint, this manipulation tactic is a perversion of what true inner calm and equanimity entail. Stoics like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius valued tranquility to better understand themselves and the world around them, responding to life's challenges with wisdom and virtue, not to wield their calmness as a weapon against others' vulnerabilities. But why do manipulators adopt this illusion of calm superiority? It serves to elevate them in a power dynamic, casting them as the rational counterpart to your supposedly unchecked emotions. It's a control mechanism designed to silence dissent and discourage the expression of feelings under the guise of maintaining peace or rationality. In confronting this tactic, Stoicism equips us with a valuable tool: the differentiation between what we can control and what we cannot. Our emotions, our responses are within our realm of control. Someone else's decision to feign superiority, not so much. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our internal responses, to validate our emotions without needing external approval. It encourages us to seek a state of true calm, not as a means of feeling superior, but as a way of being genuinely at peace with whatever emotions we experience. Responding to the illusion of calm superiority then becomes an exercise in Stoic resilience. We acknowledge our emotions, we express them appropriately, and we refuse to be drawn into a false hierarchy where the only way to be seen as rational is to suppress what we feel. We remember the words of Epictetus, who reminded us that external appearances are deceiving and true mastery is over one's internal state, not over others. So when faced with someone projecting calm superiority, remember, your emotions are valid, your reactions are yours to express, and you don't need to compete in a game of who's more unflappable. Let's embrace the Stoic approach, finding strength in our authenticity and serenity in our self-acceptance. This way, we're not just resisting manipulation, we're cultivating a deeper, more genuine tranquility within ourselves. Now consider the scenario where someone you trust, someone you've opened your heart to, uses your deepest fears, your love, or even your sense of duty against you. They might say, "If you really loved me, you would do this," or worse, threaten harm upon themselves if you do not comply with their demands. This isn't just manipulation, it's a betrayal of trust, exploiting the emotional bonds that should be sources of strength, not leverage. Stoicism, with its emphasis on virtue, integrity, and personal freedom, offers a powerful antidote to emotional blackmail. The Stoics taught that our internal moral compass, our commitment to living a life of virtue, should guide our actions, not the coercive pressure from others. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, believed that true freedom comes from being unencumbered by external forces, including the manipulative demands of others. He would argue that succumbing to emotional blackmail does not serve us or the blackmailer. It only perpetuates a cycle of harm and dependency. But why do individuals resort to emotional blackmail? Often it's a sign of their own inner turmoil, insecurity, or inability to engage in healthy reciprocal relationships. They may feel powerless and thus resort to manipulation to assert control or to anchor themselves emotionally. However, this approach is fundamentally flawed because it seeks to fill internal voids with external concessions, which is both unsustainable and damaging. Facing emotional blackmail, Stoicism teaches us to respond with compassion, both for ourselves and the blackmailer, but also with firm boundaries. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, would counsel us to meet such challenges with patience and understanding, but to remain steadfast in our principles. We must recognize that while we can offer support, we cannot allow our lives and decisions to be dictated by another's emotional state or manipulative demands. Moreover, Stoicism encourages us to seek internal validation and peace, rather than allowing our happiness to be contingent on meeting others' demands or on their approval. This doesn't mean we become indifferent to the needs and feelings of others, but that we approach relationships with a balance of empathy and self-respect, understanding that true love and friendship never seek to imprison us with guilt or fear. In the face of emotional blackmail, then, let us draw upon our Stoic resilience. Let's remember that we have the power to choose our response, to set boundaries, and to seek help if the situation threatens our well-being or that of the blackmailer. By doing so, we honor our commitment to living with integrity, to nurturing healthy relationships, and to preserving our inner peace against the storms of manipulation. Imagine extending your hand, offering your heart, and giving from your spirit, only to find these gestures of goodwill are not met with gratitude, but are seen as opportunities for exploitation. This manipulation preys on the benevolent, those who carry their heart on their sleeve, transforming acts of kindness into exchanges where the giver is left depleted and the taker is perpetually unsatisfied in the face of such exploitation. Stoicism stands as a bulwark, advocating for a life led by virtue and reasoned judgment. The Stoics, including Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, emphasize the importance of acting with kindness and generosity, but not at the expense of one's own well-being or moral principles. They taught that true kindness is measured not by the external rewards it brings, but by the internal satisfaction of having acted in accordance with virtue. But why do some see kindness as a weakness to be exploited? Often it's a reflection of their own deficiencies, a lack of self-sufficiency, a deep-seated insecurity, or an inability to genuinely connect with others. They view the kind-hearted not as fellow souls to be cherished, but as resources to be mined, mistaking generosity for naivety. Stoicism instructs us to approach such situations with both wisdom and courage, the wisdom to discern the true nature of these interactions, and the courage to set boundaries that protect our generosity from becoming folly. It teaches us that being kind does not mean being indiscriminate with our energy and resources. We must be judicious, ensuring that our kindness is not only well-intended, but also well-placed, nurturing relationships that are reciprocal and respectful, rather than one-sided and exploitative. Moreover, Stoicism reminds us that our primary duty is to our own virtue and integrity. We must not allow the exploitation of our kindness to lead us into bitterness or cynicism. Instead, we're encouraged to view such experiences as opportunities for growth, as tests of our resilience and commitment to living virtuously regardless of others' actions. So, when faced with the exploitation of our kindness, let us lean into our Stoic principles. Let's continue to be generous, but with the foresight and strength to ensure our kindness enriches not just the lives of others, but our own lives as well. Let us remember that the highest form of kindness is that which is given freely but also wisely, safeguarded by the virtues of temperance, justice, and courage. In doing so, we uphold the Stoic ideal of living a life of purpose, where our kindness becomes a beacon of hope and humanity, untainted by the manipulations of the world. As we bid adieu, let us embrace the essence of Stoicism, for within its tenets lie the wisdom to navigate life's labyrinthine paths with resilience and grace. Just as the Stoic philosophers before us, let us cultivate the virtues of wisdom, courage, temperance, and justice, for in them we find the keys to unlock the door to inner tranquility and strength. As a community of seekers, united in our quest for truth and understanding, let us part ways with gratitude for the journey we have shared. Each moment spent delving into the depths of our souls, wrestling with life's complexities, and striving to live in accordance with our highest principles, has been a testament to the power of human spirit and intellect. Let us remember that as Stoics, we are not immune to the challenges and trials of life, but rather we are empowered to face them with clarity and purpose. In the face of adversity, let us stand tall, drawing upon the timeless wisdom of our philosophical tradition to guide us through the storm. And so, as we embark on new adventures and forge our paths forward, let us carry with us the lessons of Stoicism, to embrace each moment with mindfulness, to cultivate resilience in the face of adversity, and to seek virtue in all our endeavors. Farewell, dear friends and fellow philosophers. May the principles of Stoicism continue to illuminate your path, guiding you towards a life of fulfillment, wisdom, and inner peace. Until we meet again, remember, you are the architect of your destiny, the master of your fate, and the captain of your soul.